Ball game over. American League Division Series over. Yankees win the... Oh, right. Sorry. Wrestling podcast, right? Yeah. Okay.
You can say it.
Okay. So we're going to give you a better show than Bob Costas and Ron Darling did this week. It is another episode of The Good, The Bad, and the Encyclopedia. Unfortunately, The Good is under the weather this week, so we're going to be raining in hell this week with the Devil's Advocate, Rob Fane.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing better than The Good at this point.
And the Kansas City Royals.
Yeah, and and depending on what happens next, Cleveland or Detroit, our next victim. All right.
And we might get a Subway series with Rob.
I don't know if I can live through another one of those. All right, so let's talk a little bad blood. Let's start there. Did you watch the show? Did you like the show? What'd you like? What you didn't like?
Okay.
Go ahead, take it.
The Hell in a Cell match. I'm seeing a lot of opinions out there that it might be the top contender for match of the year. Your facial expression says otherwise.
Okay.
I thought that was the match of the card. That's for sure. Yeah, I thought it felt more like the Hell in a Cell match should be, which is to incapacitate your opponent because you hate him so much. They pulled out all the stops, but it was the match psychology I thought was there, building up to what have you. Nobody tried to escape the cell. Nobody had to worry about some crazy bumps off the top. So I thought that was well done. I did have one of our commentators, Victor, was texting me and said that Drew McIntyre carried the match. What do you think on that? Because that threw me for a loop, and I was like, "Wait, did we watch the same match here?"
If I was going to put a percentage on it, I might say 60-40 Drew, because I think he did kind of lead the way. I think a lot of I think the more impactful moves were from Punk, like when he picked up the toolbox and stuff. But I think McIntyre has driven this feud. I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm sorry, it's over. I mean, I don't know where else they can take it. But it was definitely the match of the night. I think it was one of the better Hell in a Cell matches that we've seen in a long time. And like I said, I think McIntyre's done his best work. I'm wondering what they're going to do with him now.
Yeah, and he was encouraging me to join the Drew bandwagon. I don't hate Drew McIntyre. I do like the guy, and yeah, I agree. This has been some of his best work. The guy deserves a title reign in front of fans, whether he's heel or face. And I think it should be heel because I think this has been the best he's been right now. And I'm a huge CM Punk fan saying that. I think there's more value in Drew as champion right now. So, but yeah, where do they go next with him? I don't know.
Intercontinental?
I think that's a too far step down. I think he's your top main eventer after Gunther on the heel side. Sami Zayn, I don't recall if we've seen that feud before.
That to me is a step down.
I mean, to me, like lower than Jey Uso.
Well, Jey Uso has a belt.
Yeah, but Sami Zayn just challenged for the belt himself.
He lost.
So,
he's back down at the bottom. He's got to work his way back up.
Damian Priest versus Drew. Have we done that? Maybe a little.
I don't think so.
Maybe that's the option.
I mean, go ahead and finish giving your thoughts, because I have a few other things I want to say, and I don't want to interrupt you.
Whole card, you mean? Sure. The Nia Jax Bayley match was by far, in my mind, probably the worst match on the card. I think Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan probably is contender for that as well. And I think, no fault on Bayley's part, I think we saw some of the sloppy that Nia Jax has been known for creep back in. That spot where Bayley had the rep for the power bomb, and then it was supposed to be her Hurricanrana from Nia Jax. And here's the kicker: I saw somebody on Twitter, I think, reposted it and was like talking smack about Nia, and she reposted bragging about it. And I'm like, is she Is this her thinking she's in character, or is she just that stupid? Because it looked terrible. I don't know. I felt like Nia took a huge step back in that match. I mean, not that they have to rush and take the title off her, because I think she definitely is improved by leaps and bounds, and they've done a great job with this current incarnation of her character. But ugh, sloppy. Felt like a lot of this card was kind of like, yeah, okay, cool. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, I felt that way. The Women's World Championship match, I was fine with that ending. I think I was the only one that ended up getting the pick right. Didn't think it was going to be on a DQ, but be that as it may, it sounds like they screwed up the ending there. I don't know if you read about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way it was done, I was like, how would you have done it without the referee seeing if it was supposed to happen when Rhea was beating the crap out of Liv Morgan?
And
Dominic?
honestly, too, the camera angle, Rhea looked over her shoulder to see where Raquel was.
A lot of them do that so much now, and it's like, come on,
like
guys.
Instead of waiting, you could tell she went like this, and you could see it because the camera angle was straight on, so you could see her head turned, like she was waiting. So you knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You're, in my opinion, your observation is spot on. This was a weak card.
Yeah, and I think
Hell in a Cell. Go ahead.
Yep. Yeah, I think when we were no, I don't think I know. I said I thought it was a good show, not a great show. I think this by far, with the exception of maybe the Elimination Chamber, those two are neck and neck for the worst shows of the year, which they were still good shows. They're not great, but they were good shows.
I would argue that I don't consider this a good show. The Bailey match was a travesty. I don't know why people feel like they have to go out of their own move set. Nia Jax can't pull off a Hurricanrana. I'm sorry, she can't. So don't try. Did they not try it beforehand to see if she could do it?
And I thought I read somewhere that they did try it and they had gotten it. They were successful that previous time.
Because I also saw this week on Dynamite that Nyla Rose tried to do the same thing, and she was a little better. But again, she's a bigger person. And bigger people don't necessarily have to pull off luchador moves. You're a power wrestler, stick with your power moves. It's okay.
Yeah, I feel like Big Show was the one that kind of broke that mold of wrestling as a larger superstar and trying to do aerial moves. I think he opened the door, and that was a mistake.
Over the top rope and stuff. I'm like,
right,
mistake, total mistake. You're out of your realm. You don't know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
The Priest Balor match to me had nothing to it. There needed to be some kind of stipulation. This is supposed to be some kind of feud. They've wrestled before.
Have they?
Yeah, they've wrestled. They mentioned it all the time. Finn Balor beat Damian Priest for the U.S. title.
But that was years ago. I feel like it's a fresh feud.
There's history, though. And this is supposed to be Balor's been sneak attacking Priest every week and laying him out.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a no DQ. Give me a strap match. Give me something.
And I'm okay with that for the next match if there is one.
To me, there shouldn't be. This feud should be over. Priest should move on.
Yeah.
That's my problem. Is this feud is over, and I don't think we got the right payoff. We all picked Finn to win, right?
That's because I listened to you guys. I remember saying that I was going to pick Damian Priest, and I listened to you guys.
Well, this was a rare misfire for all of us, because we've been running the table the last couple of months, and this one 2-3, 3-2. I mean, we misread the room here a few times.
I was reading it right more than you guys, and I let you guys talk me out of it.
You got one DQ ahead of me, okay?
And I should have stuck with my pick, Damian Priest. I did say that.
Oh, did you?
No, I didn't.
What happened? And I don't know. The Cody match was fine.
That was tough. I personally did not feel it should be the main event, but because of who was in it, I felt like if they ran that first, for example, if you reverse the positions with that in the Hell in the Cell, or any match for that matter, the crowd was going to be dead for the rest of the show. So,
and I mean, the follow-up to this, what's everybody talking about? Kevin Owens. So they're
And The
not even
Rock.
talking about this match. These
And The
matches,
Rock.
right? They've already moved on to what happened after. So this show did not succeed where people are talking about it. They're
I
talking about all
think,
the other extraneous
yeah.
stuff.
Well, that was it. I felt like this show was setting up future state more than anything, especially with the Rock appearing, and then Kevin Owens. I don't know if you saw, there was a fan video where Solo, turned, I think it was to Tamatonga in the crowd and said that's the plan. And but meanwhile, I think Roman had said to Jimmy in the ring, "You initiated the plan." Like there's a clip of that going around. So I think there's more coming there.
Yeah. Well, did you
I
see what
don't
Jimmy Uso said today?
know.
The bloodline will reunite.
Oh,
Families fight.
yeah, we knew that.
So
We knew that, and I think at least I did, and I can't remember if you and Jason agreed. I said that The Rock was probably the one behind Solo naming himself Tribal Chief and all that, and I think that's definitely going to come out.
And I
But
mean, my other problem is Rhea Ripley came off kind of stupid, right? She had Liv Morgan dead to rights. Why couldn't you have ran the ring, got in a 3 count, and run out and beaten the shit out of Dominic? He wasn't going anywhere.
yeah,
And she goes to the referee, I'm going to go take care of this. And he's like, yeah, all right, go ahead.
yeah, that was weird.
I'm like, what? That's what does the referee go? Yeah, go ahead. I won't count you out or anything. I'll wait here till you're done. What?
Yeah, that was
That's kind of
weird.
dumb. And Raquel Rodriguez shouldn't wear a shirt like that. She looked like she was. That didn't work.
I
She doesn't body for that.
I mean, I'm always trying to be honest here. I think she's more attractive than Rhea Ripley personally, and Liv Morgan for that matter. But yeah, she doesn't have the body for that type of shirt.
I don't get Liv Morgan at all. I mean, people go on and on about
Never
her
have.
butt. So what?
Hmm.
You look at her, turn her around. I mean, you're not,
Yeah. My favorite is when people go, "But you live in Jersey. She's from Jersey," and I'm like, I don't care. Why should?
like,
Big deal.
live in those shorts. I'm like, and? But the rest of her is, yeah, no.
I'll just say not my type and leave it at
Yeah,
that.
that's what I mean. I'm like, I don't understand people going nuts for her. She's just not. And Rhea Ripley is so much bigger, and like it seems weird that she doesn't have the belt.
Yeah.
And now they're gonna. I don't know. Like, I don't know even know who Liv Morgan's last challenger is, because obviously now Rhea is going to be going in, and Raquel are going to be fighting. So I
There
mean,
was.
I think there's some issues here that are going to start popping up, and I think that leads us to our next conversation, was the 2-hour Raw.
Yeah.
A lot of people were complaining about the 2-hour Raw, and I have to say, I'm not a you probably know this better than me. I'm not a regular SmackDown watcher. I don't watch it religiously every week. But people were really bitching and moaning about the amount of commercials. Does SmackDown have this many commercials? Like, are they comparable?
I didn't, commercial wise, I didn't notice any difference in the picture
Oh,
in
I
picture
did.
smack.
There were a lot. It felt like every 2 minutes there was a freaking commercial.
I didn't notice a difference, and that's just me, I guess. I don't know. And the picture in picture, SmackDown's been doing that for a while, so none of that surprised me. I think
Yeah,
for
no,
me,
that doesn't
I
surprise me at all.
I felt like, and this is credit really to the creative team. When the main event was starting and then the show ended, I thought, geez, I feel like, not that the show didn't feel rushed. I just felt like there was something missing. Like I got so used to the 3-hour Raws actually having enough content and being booked well from beginning to end, or at least better, that when the 2 hours were up, I was like, I've been excited for this 2 hours since they first got announced. Like, thank God, no more 3 hours Raws. And I was like, I didn't feel like there was that much content this time around, so it
There
felt like
wasn't.
something was missing.
And the other big complaint everyone had was that the ladies were shuttled into this 10-man tag,
That was old
got
school.
like 5 minutes, and then it was gutted by the commercial.
Mm.
They did a commercial break, and by the time they came back, the match was over, like getting ready to end. And people were feeling like the ladies really got the short shift on this one, because they got stuck with the not picture in picture, and this 10-man match, 10 ladies match,
Mhm.
that means nothing. And again, this This what is their name again? I keep wanting to say the
Oh,
Miracle Violence Connection, but I know that's not right.
Pure Fusion Collective.
They lose again.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point?
Not me.
Their faction stinks. They lose every week, whether they're singles or they're tag or they're three. They lose, and different ones get pinned every week.
Yeah, and
So
they had
spreading out the losses.
And they teamed up with the Unholy Alliance. They could have had them eat the pin. I don't remember who got pinned on that match, to be honest. That
I
one
don't.
was the one match I didn't pay attention.
I think it was Zoe Stark again.
I'm not a fan, but still, that's
No, I'm not either. I don't think I think she's got one good move, and that's about it. That drop kick from the top rope is pretty cool. But I don't know. I just they're gonna have to. This was a fail. This 2-hour Raw was a fail.
I figured it was going to take them. I mean, I didn't think about it going in, but now I'm like, all right, it's going to take a few weeks to adjust to having it 3 hours for 12 years. And now all of a sudden it's 2. What I think really sucks is it could take them a couple months to really nail it down. And then they're going to move to Netflix, where we don't know how much time they have, but the talk is they're going to have as much time as they need. So my guess is it's going to go to 2.5. I think 3 hours is too much. But
I'm not sure why everybody needs a ring announcement. The main event should get where people come out and get announced. The rest should be like, get out to the ring and let's start fighting. Because they cut in so much time just walking down to the ring and getting in the ring and you know what I mean? Like, you can cut some of that back. We know who Sami Zayn is. Play the music, get him out in the ring. Let's get this fight started.
I would rather they do the picture-in-picture for the entrances.
Well, they should do that then. That's not a bad idea. That's maybe even a better idea. Are you afraid that Goldberg's going to be wrestling Gunther?
God, I hope not. I was like, yeah, that one. I was like, oh, really? And a stupid kid now. I'm like, go play college football and leave us alone.
And the last thing I wanted to ask you about, what do you think about Crown Jewel and this champion versus champion business with another belt?
I would rather they do it there instead of having champion versus champion at Survivor Series. I'm okay with it. That gives the Saudi crowd and the Prince of Saudi Arabia something special that's unique to them. Let them have their own championship. Have the champion versus champion on Crown Jewel. I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense. And let's be honest, do we really care about this show for the most part otherwise? Not really. So let them have it. It doesn't bother me. And I'm looking at it as like, a perpetual trophy. Like every year, if they want to continue doing this, the 2 world champions face off and one gets that belt. I'm okay with that. But let them have their unique thing. Whatever. So it doesn't bother me. I think what's weird is
Cody, right, and Liv and Nia.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, does anyone want to see Liv and Nia? And then I read some theory that Tiffany's going to insert herself into the match or something
to win a fictitious title.
No, that she's going to cash in to win one of the belts.
Before Nia, but before.
Either that or no. One of the theories I read was she'll cash in the middle of the Nia Liv match, and then she'd be getting really a shot at both belts.
Oh.
Which I thought, I was like, all right, that's interesting. That would be an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, I meant to ask you, and I totally forgot. Did you and Jason talk about SummerSlam moving to 2 nights?
We might have mentioned it. I don't think we got into too much detail if they did.
All right. Well, I mean, are you excited?
Yeah, it's less than an hour for me. otherwise probably not. I don't think
next year it's not going to be. So next year it'll be somewhere else. So you mean you only like it because it's close?
No, technically next year it will be in Jersey. It's the year after that it'll be somewhere else in Minnesota.
I don't think they should have done it.
I don't think it should be 2 nights, but
I think WrestleMania special
Yeah, but even WrestleMania, we complained about the 2 nights that it should only be
Right, but
cream
I
of the
mean, if you're
crop.
gonna do 2 nights, if you're gonna go that route, WrestleMania is the one that should have 2 nights. Either that or you do the Rumble 2 nights,
I think the
and you
Rumble
have the
was,
ladies one and the men's the other.
yeah, I
But
think the
SummerSlam
Rumble,
to me doesn't lend itself to that.
yeah, I'm curious to see how it is. And actually, for me personally, it puts me in a little bit of a conundrum because I was thinking, and I had friends that reached out to me and said, "Hey, Vegas WrestleMania, do you want to go?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, I got people definitely interested. Yeah, I'd do it." Now the SummerSlam announcement, I was like, do I do both? Um,
I might be into SummerSlam since it's at Wells Fargo, right?
no, it's at MetLife.
Oh, MetLife, where's that?
That's the one we went to WrestleMania 29, East Rutherford,
Oh,
New Jersey.
I might be interested in going to one of the nights.
Okay, yeah. Well,
That
I
close.
mean, I know I'm crazy. I'd probably do both, but the yeah. Surprisingly, when I did mention to my wife, I was like, "Hey, they just announced SummerSlam for MetLife." Her response was, "Well, I guess you have a lot of wrestling shows next year," and I was like, to me, that's a green light. Not that she ever gives me a hard time
I was
about
gonna
that
say,
stuff. She
when have you
doesn't.
ever gotten any? And I mean, and I could go to that one for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about
D
that. I just don't know what night I'd want to go to.
Speaking of the premium live events, did you see Saturday night's main event was listed as a PLE during Bad Blood?
I
They
didn't.
like had the calendar for the rest of the year, and Saturday night's main event was on there. And I was like, wait, what? But it's on NBC, unless they're going to still brand it as a PLE on
Mm.
broadcast TV. I don't know. That's interesting. Yeah, Jason and I think you missed that week. Jason and I kind of fantasy booked some possible matches for that one. So
Mm.
at some point, if you ever want to get into that and give yours take, you can. But I know
Okay.
you probably want to think about that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, all right,
So
next.
in other WWE news, let's talk. Well, let me throw out a couple topics, and you pick the one you want to talk about. You want
Okay.
to talk about Triple H? Do you want to talk about? Do you want to move over to AEW and do our picks, or do you want to talk a little NXT?
Uh, I guess let's do NXT AEW.
NXT first.
Yeah,
All
well,
right.
it kind of goes hand in hand, at least in my
Some
thoughts.
of it does, yeah. So go ahead,
So
kick it off.
first off, and this is going to shock some people, I saw the ratings got released,
Hmm.
and NXT did not lose much audience from week 1 to week 2, surprisingly, and blew AEW away as far as the number of viewers by more than double. I think AEW, think was under 400,000. I think it was 379, and AEW or an NXT had over 800,000. Folks, one had switched nights. I'm going to be honest. AEW, I don't think did a very good job of advertising this title Tuesday. I felt like the 5-year anniversary and the Grand Slam had been advertised for weeks. This
Yes.
title Tuesday, I barely recall it being mentioned.
Yep.
They got moved because the Yankees won last night in Game 3, and now they won in Game 4. Sorry, we're going to go about that a little bit because it's been a while for us. All that being said, I was like, I don't think it's that big a deal. They switched
It's not.
nights. Yeah, they switched nights. One's on cable, pay behind a pay window. CW, you could get with an antenna if you still have one. I don't think it's that big a deal. What? And then I saw one graphic that showed the viewership for Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage over the last week, and the total was still less than NXT. And I was like, all right, guys, really? Rampage and Collision are on terrible nights. I don't care what
Yeah.
anybody says.
That's not even relevant in my opinion.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what? I get it for the WWE and specifically the NXT fans. Enjoy the moment because we know Tony Khan in the past when they've beaten NXT on Tuesday nights wouldn't shut the hell up. So he's gotten very quiet this time. So but I don't know. This time I didn't even care. I was like, I was actually thought it's going to be interesting, and if NXT doesn't win now that they're on a bigger network, and when they did, I was like, yeah, big deal. So I think people are reading into that one too much.
Yeah. I think your tribalists are, you know, celebrating
Yeah,
where
and I've
most
been
people who
guilty of
like
that
both
at
shows
times.
could care less.
Yeah, and I've been guilty of that myself. I know that, but I didn't feel like this was that big a deal. It's not a fair comparison. It's just on networks alone. What I do think though, NXT was struggling to sell tickets for St. Louis. Raw was in St. Louis in the bigger arena on Monday night. They were not selling the tickets as well, so they went into a smaller, more intimate setting. And then AEW was in, I believe it was Spokane, much bigger arena. And I saw on WrestleTix that I think they might have cleared 2,000 tickets. It actually seemed like NXT and AEW might have sold close to the same number of tickets. And I know I've said it before, but I feel like, look, AEW's got their TV deal. What is it, 175, 180 mil a year?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, game set match. They're set for at least the next 3 years. So you don't need these big arenas. And I think it sounds terrible when the fans are chanting, and you could tell the place is empty because of the echoing you're getting. I think AEW needs to accept that they're not selling the tickets that they had been. Their pay-per-views still sell decently well. Not like they did in the beginning, but they still carry good crowds, anywhere between 5 to 9,000 people minimum. And then Wembley, they still got 45,000, which, yeah, right, it's a step down from the 81,000, but it's still a great number. For the TV tapings, I think you're just gonna take the NXT route, go to smaller arenas for a while. You angle it well, it'll look like a full crowd. Because if you notice, Dynamite's always cutting off quite a chunk of the arena, especially this week. The way the ticket maps looked on WrestleTix, at least, it looked like on the hard camera side, they might have sold the first 3 or 4 rows, and they stopped the view there. It looked terrible. It almost looked more like a soundstage than an arena. Embrace the smaller arenas for a while. It's okay. And I'm not saying you have to go to like a Mid-Hudson Civic Center where you might get 2,000 people, although I think it looks better on TV that way. It looks more full, the arena looks more full.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could tell it's not as many people, but the audio, I think, sounds better there. I just embrace it for a while and see how it goes. If you start selling those places out, all right, fine. Look at slightly bigger arenas.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. I think it looks better if you're selling out a 4,000 seat arena than selling 4,000 seats in a 16,000 seat arena. Right? That's how you create the buzz. You start selling out these smaller places and saying we had to turn people away outside. Maybe you had to turn away 10 people. Nobody knows that. Right? You don't inflate your numbers, you changed how they're perceived. So maybe you didn't sell the biggest, or maybe you didn't sell at Madison Square Garden, but you sold 2 nights at the Beacon or something like that. You know what I mean? Like you work with what you have.
Yeah.
And and then you go from there. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, and the US market tends to sway towards that full entertainment storyline experience that WWE offers. I mean, it's been that way for decades. WWE defined it, fans embraced it. That hasn't changed. AEW is a very niche audience that want the wrestling part of it. That's great. That's fine. It's just not going to be as popular as what a WWE show's putting on. And if that's your mission, that's your mantra, that's where you want to go with, fine. So be it. Embrace that. Instead of how long until Tony Khan starts talking smack about how they're better than WWE again? It's like, embrace who you are. You always said you weren't supposed to be WWE, so fine, great.
Dude, Ring of Honor. I used to go see Ring of Honor in Edison,
Mm-hmm.
and it was maybe 500 seats,
Mm-hmm.
and they would sell those 500 seats.
Yeah.
And it was fine. I mean, that's who they were. They were like you said, they were a niche.
Yeah.
Right? So if AEW wants to continue to be who they are and not be WWE, then they've got to do what you said. They've got to book smaller arenas.
Yeah.
And make it more of an intimate experience.
Yeah, I'd argue that a lot of the bigger indie companies now are getting more seats sold for one of their shows. Granted, it's not on TV on a weekly basis. It might be a once a month thing. But I've been to indie shows, not so much recently, but I've been in indie shows even in the last couple of years where there's more people than Dynamite taping has now.
Northeast Wrestling, how much do they usually draw?
It depends on it depends, because sometimes they're in high school gyms. Sometimes they're in, to be quite frank, bingo halls. Because I've been to a few of those. But they've sold out the Mid-Hudson Civic Center plenty of times. And then in the summer, and they didn't do it this year except for maybe one show. In the summer, and they don't necessarily sell the whole place out, but they actually do a ballpark tour. They'll actually do the shows at minor league and independent baseball leagues, and they've done
Which
pretty
are
well there.
a couple thousand seats, right? 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 seats, something like that.
Yeah, I think the ones I went to up in Fishkill, New York, 4 to 5,000, which right now is better than what Dynamite's doing. Granted, it's been a few years, so maybe they wouldn't be able to sell that many. I don't know, because I've noticed Northeast hasn't done the Civic Center in a couple of years now. They seem to be stuck in Danbury and Waterbury, Connecticut, and the bingo hall type places.
Well, I mean, you got to remember, there's a lot of options out there now,
Oh yeah,
and everything's expensive.
yeah,
So you got to play to your audience. If you're going to try and play a big place and try and sell tickets for a lot of money, you're not going to get it.
yeah. And Northeast does tend their ticket prices can get a little high for some of these small arenas. Where I went to an indie Superstars of Pro Wrestling show up in Hackettstown, New Jersey, a couple months ago. That one didn't sell out, but the tickets were more measly priced, so there was more people than I would have expected. Definitely bigger than some of the Northeast wrestling shows I've seen video of the last couple months.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be smart.
Yeah.
Right. And if you're not working off the revenue, like they don't need the revenue from those shows to make money. You're better off go into a smaller arena, have a more intimate experience, have meet and greets, do all the things find out all the things WWE does, and do the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If they don't have meet and greets, have more meet and greets.
Yeah, AEW I think does
different experiences.
Sell
ticket packages, like buy this ticket and you get to meet Bryan Danielson after the show or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
AEW, they usually have somebody there beforehand, one or two. But WWE actually does do those experiences already.
Well, I mean, they can do the same thing, just in a smaller arena.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd pay to meet Will Ospreay. I think he's awesome.
Yeah.
If I got a good ticket and a picture with Will Ospreay, I would pay for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They're Tony Khan's thinking large, but
too large.
Fine, but that's not the product he's putting out on TV.
Yeah.
So he's got to figure out there's got to be a happy medium somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he's got his TV deal now, so you got the money. You know the money's coming in for the next 3 years, and you can't necessarily, you can't scale on by for like almost the whole 3 years before you make a real attempt again. But you got 3 years now to figure out how to draw that audience back in, because I don't think anybody expected. I know there were some people that predicted they were going to be out of business by now. I don't think, but as based on their popularity, especially the first two years or so, I don't think anybody expected that this time now they would be struggling this badly. And it was so quick. It felt like towards the tail end of MJF's title reign last year is when it really started, and it's just gotten worse.
Well, I mean, for the good of wrestling, AEW should not go under.
I don't think it will. I think I think it's going to take Shahid Khan to step up and say if they're losing money. I think with this TV deal, they probably aren't anymore. So let's see. Hopefully, they could at least get some of the momentum back that they lost. No. So this weekend we have AEW Wrestledream. So we'll do our picks. But they also had Dynamite this week. I am going to be frank here. And while AEW shows I don't think are terrible, I think they're average to good. And I feel like some weeks they're better than NXT, some weeks NXT is better. But I feel like this card feels very thrown together, which is interesting because they had a full month to really build it up. I feel like only one match did they build up properly. The rest are kind of Maybe two. Maybe I'll give you two.
Which two would you say have been built up?
I thought, well, the Danielson Moxley one, I think hands down was the one they put the most effort in. Even though it was set up really the last week or so, I thought Jericho making it personal with Briscoe so quickly, I was like, all right, at least it was thrown together, but at least that was something. Maybe I would give you Ospreay, Ricochet, Takeshita, but maybe, but that's it.
No, that's been brewing.
That's been brewing. I don't like the idea, especially all of a sudden AEW is now doing triple threat and four-way matches, which seemed like that was a WWE product. They would never go there. Now they're going there. So that surprises me. But
Well, I mean, if you think about it, it's smart. If you're going to take the belt off Ospreay and you don't want him to get pinned,
mhm.
the third man is the one that takes the hit.
Yeah, but I'm just saying AEW's always said they're not WWE. Well, this screams WWE to me.
Well, I mean, it's a three-way match. They've had them all over the world, so it's not really WWE can't claim it. You know what I mean? It's
I'm
like claiming a body slam. You can't.
My point being is AEW always said that they weren't. One of their things was they weren't going to be WWE. Now, based on what you said, if Ricochet eats the pin for Takeshita to become the champion, or vice versa, that's a WWE trick.
It's a wrestling thing. I don't think it's a WWE thing.
All right.
But
Yeah,
we
but
can agree to disagree on that.
yeah, but when I hear the name Russell Dream, I feel like, okay, this is going to be a bunch of dream wrestling matches. I got to be honest, none of these are dream matches to me. I mean, Briscoe and Jericho, I'm intrigued just because Briscoe is interesting.
You don't think
And
Danielson
Jericho,
Moxley's going to be good?
I'm not saying it won't be good. I'm saying it's not a dream match to me. It's been
Well,
done.
Wrestle Dream to me sounds like a cruise.
Yeah.
So, all right.
I don't know. I hear Russell Dream. I think dream matches. I don't think any match on this is a dream match, but I think this is a very weak card. And it felt very rushed and thrown together when I feel like you had all in and all out that were back to back. Like I think there was 2 weeks maybe separating the two tops, 2 to 3 maybe. And I felt like they did a much better job leading into that one than this one. But anyway, Saturday night, 8 p.m., at least for the pay-per-view. And then there's the 0 hour. And on the 0 hour, we're getting the Ring of Honor Television Championship. Atlantis Jr. defending against Brian Cage. Who the hell is Atlantis Jr.?
I don't know. I was thinking the same thing when they announced it. Because who watches Ring of Honor TV, honestly?
The 10,000 subscribers for
I
the
think
Honor Club.
Atlantis beat Kyle Fletcher. I think.
It was in June. Did go far. I did go as far as looking that up. I was like, who did he even? Actually, I think when I first saw the graphic, it wasn't clear who the champion was. I was like, who is the defending champion in this one?
I honestly
he's all
have no
choked up.
clue. I'm thinking of flipping a coin, and I actually have a coin right here, so I'm going to flip a coin on this one. So,
and I'm checking. Yeah, you're right. It was Kyle Fletcher.
all right. So this is a Canadian dollar because this is what I have handy, and the heads is going to be Atlantis, and the tails is going to be Brian Cage. All right. Tails, Brian Cage.
Okay, well, that's who I was going to pick anyway.
Wrong line.
Yes, folks, I'm putting it in the wrong box because I am deliriously tired.
That's what she said. All right.
Hey, when I got done with her, hey, yo.
Oh, hey. Now, next match is definitely one that was thrown together like 2 seconds before. This is your point. The next two matches, actually, I think are kind of thrown together at the last
Absolutely.
minute.
Absolutely.
We have Darby Allin versus Brody King. Darby Allin, did you see what he did? He hit him with a rock? Like, what the hell are you bringing a rock to the ring for? It's so stupid. Like, hit him with your what do you call it? What did he come into the ring on? Skateboard. Thank you. Hit him with your skateboard. What's with a rock?
They did that the last time they had them feud, I guess.
I mean, I guess Darby Allin's going to win. I think they're starting to set him up for the title run because I think eventually that's who's going to beat Danielson.
Oh, you don't think? Okay, I guess you gave a preview for your pick later on in this card.
Well,
okay, so you're saying Allin. We'll get to the title match.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I feel like they soured on Allin because there was rumors that Allin was going to beat Danielson even as soon as Grand Slam, and that didn't happen.
So you think you think Brody King's going to win?
I'm going to go with Allin, but I wouldn't be surprised if King won because I don't know. Otherwise, why did you insert him in the damn match? I don't know. I think Darby Allin's lost some of his luster, especially after Sting retired, which is kind of sad because the guy practically kills himself for the pop. But All right. We have Hangman Adam Page versus Jay White.
Your favorite, Jay White.
Just it's not for all the hype I heard. I don't know if it's AEW booking or what. I just feel like the
They
most
brought
overrated guy they have.
he was a main event
Yeah.
champion in New Japan, and they brought him into AEW and stuck him in tag teams.
Yeah.
And didn't promote him at all as who he was. Like if he would have got the fanfare that Okada got,
Mm-hmm.
you'd be thinking differently.
Yeah. Where the hell is he on this card?
No, but the booking has failed him, Jay White. I think Jay
it's
White's
solely
very
booking?
good.
Okay.
I think he's a very good wrestler. He's good on the mic. They've just not presented him as a champion when he walked through the door.
I could honestly say I think only one of his promos did I actually think, all right, this guy's can cut a decent promo. But
at this point, Juice and the Guns are more over than he is.
Juice is so fucking annoying.
Oh, I love him.
He's good at it.
I found the promo. I meant to send it to you guys. I forgot where he says, "What do you got, like a famous mom or something?"
Oh, I did. No, I did see that one.
It was so
you might
great.
have sent it.
I didn't send it because I just found it yesterday.
All right, I saw it somewhere.
But he's crazy, and I love it. He's just like unhinged.
Okay. Do you think this is the start of White's momentum after the?
No, I think Hangman runs right over him.
Yeah, I agree. At least
and I've seen in my research, I've seen people who were picking Jay White to win in an upset, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Again, another one I could see happening, but I don't think it will. I mean, you had Hangman go for Swerve after that feud. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
AEW World Tag Team Championship. Does Private Party finally get it done and beat the Young Bucks? I'm saying no. Yeah.
No. And if they do, it makes no sense because they have not been booked strong ever.
Yeah.
When I first saw them, I thought they were like the AEW's answer to the Street Profits, and they were going to push Private Party right to the top. I would have thought they'd had several reigns by now, and instead they just kept pushing them backwards and backwards and backwards, and then they got stuck with Matt Hardy and all that nonsense, and they'd never even been near the titles. They never even won the trios titles, right? I mean, nothing.
I mean, I don't think trio titles necessarily has to translate to here, but yeah, I get what you're saying. I saw them at Northeast Wrestling right before AEW really debuted, and I liked their original theme better. I thought that they were more interesting then. Yeah, I feel like they've been neutered in a lot of ways, so I'm kind of like,
I feel the same way about Top Flight. They go on and on about how great athletes they are and stuff, but they never give them anything.
Yeah. But the other thing is, the Young Bucks, Young Bucks as the evil EVPs. I feel like they could do so much more in those roles than they're doing. Like, I hate to say it, almost the Vince McMahon or evil general manager.
See, but here's the thing. Here's the thing about the Young Bucks. They're damned if they do, and they're damned if they don't.
That's fair.
If they do too much, they're abusing their power. If they do too little, they're not abusing their power.
Yeah, I'm just saying for the sake of storyline, I felt like this could have been I when they first started, I thought this was the most interesting I've been in them since AEW, and we know how I feel about them. But I feel like they started getting some momentum with Okada, and then help practically handing Jack Perry the TNT Championship, and then they've done nothing since then.
Yeah. All right. So we have the International Championship match.
Yep.
Will Ospreay versus Ricochet versus.
He's Spanish now, huh?
Like that? Ricochet?
Let's try to say Kansuke? No, it's not.
That's
Kansuke.
why I skipped it.
Yeah, Takeshita.
Takeshita.
At least when we said Takeshita, like MJF, where the hell has he been? They brought him back for 2 months. And
he's injured.
Again? Jeez.
Yeah, he's injured. What's his name is also injured.
Samoa Joe?
Samoa Joe is not injured. He's been given time off because he did that movie. I was thinking of
Twisted Metal.
What's his name? the big black guy?
Powerhouse Hobbs?
No. Well, he's hurt, but he's coming back. The one who's married to Mia Yim.
Oh, Keith Lee.
Thank you. Keith Lee is also hurt with no.
Oh,
I don't know if he's ever coming back.
I heard
They
that
keep
about
not
Kill
telling
Switch.
you what's wrong with him, but they won't. They keep saying there's something wrong with him. They won't tell you what it is. I think it's something with his heart.
Well, he was out for a while with WWE when he actually got COVID and they found heart problems.
Right. I
So,
think he's got heart problems. I don't think he's ever coming back.
okay.
Okay. So on to this match.
Yeah.
This one to me is the hardest one because I can make an argument for all three of them.
Yeah.
To win. And I really think Takeshita needs a title. I think they need to elevate him.
Mm-hmm.
And this to me would be the match to do it. But I'm trying to figure out if Ospreay's lost a couple times this year already.
Mm-hmm.
And Ricochet hasn't lost yet.
For me, I think Ricochet is definitely the odd man out. I could see Takeshita winning. I could see Ospreay winning. I can't see Ricochet winning.
I'm trying to figure out if this is when Kyle Fletcher interferes and causes Ospreay to lose, because they've been kind of teasing that on TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I think it's Takeshita's gonna take it.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with Ospreay on this just because I feel like, especially after the confrontation with Don Callis, I think he'll get his own one-upmanship. But Don Callis actually got a new member of his family. Did you see that?
He did. He got Lance Archer.
Interesting. And then I saw Roosh and his group are with Jake the Snake, and I was like,
which looks
am I supposed to be?
You would imagine.
Yeah, and I was like, am I supposed to be excited for this? Are they actually going to do something with this? Probably not. I mean, I don't care for Roosh anyway, but I was like,
well, I mean, he's, to me, in that 3, he's good. Like he showed during the Continental Tournament, he's good. He can wrestle, and he's got attitude. But again, number one, he can't speak English, which is bad, right? Because you can't deliver a promo. Number 2, I have no idea what the hell Jake Roberts is supposed to be doing with them.
That
makes no sense whatsoever. You wanted to just say Jake Roberts is going to take a step back, and he's going to hand over Lance Archer. That's fine. I have no problem with that. And then I'm like, who's he getting in return?
Yeah.
And I was truly surprised. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I think Kyle Fletcher.
Barely talk.
Yeah, I think Kyle Fletcher going over to Jake the Snake would have at least helped with the Callis Ospreay feud, like where Ospreay would be like, how the hell could you sell him out like that, like something like that. But I think it would also be interesting, the interaction with Jake the Snake and Kyle Fletcher. Yeah, I almost feel like they were like, okay, Jake the Snake isn't always available. We don't bring him in all the time, and Lance Archer should at least get some sort of real opportunity other than what we've given him. So we're going to put him with Don Callis and know that at least something might come of it. And we'll just put Jake the Snake with Roosh because, sometimes he's on, sometimes he isn't. Who cares?
I mean, there's another guy, Lance Archer. The booking just.
Let's see. That's why for him I thought I like this move, but let's see.
I mean, the guy destroys people on TV, and then they put him in main event matches, and he gets destroyed.
Yeah, I think that's going to change slightly here, but
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Okay, the Ring of Honor World Title, right? Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho.
See, I think this one's.
Tree. Hi guys.
I think this is the hardest match to call, in my opinion.
Oh, I don't think so. I think Mark Briscoe wins.
I mean, I'm picking Briscoe too, but I could see Jericho winning it again.
That would be a mistake.
Well, how many guys have gone over Jericho when they've done nothing with them after the fact?
Yeah, but Mark Briscoe, when Jericho brought up Jay Briscoe, I was like, oh, Mark Briscoe's winning. Because he's going to go full Briscoe on Jericho.
I think AEW.
There's guaranteed going to be blood in this match, lots of it.
I think I think AEW goes against what the norm has been at times, and I could see them doing it here with Jericho again. I mean, you could prolong this feud. I mean, it could be like the Orange Cassidy Jericho feud where they have several matches, but I don't know. We'll see. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll agree with you on Briscoe, but if there's another one, if Jericho wins, I could see it. All right. Maybe I'll save us some trouble. TNT Championship match. Jack Perry against the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata. I think we're all going Perry, right?
I picked Jack Perry. I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something completely inappropriate, like, "Hi, Renee, do the curtains match the drapes?" Oh, like, sorry about that.
Does John satisfy you, Renee? Oops, didn't mean to say that.
Like, I wanted to say something completely inappropriate and been like trying to fix it.
That's the next step, hopefully.
Boobs, 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 boobs.
All right, women's world championship. We have Mariah May and Willow Nightingale. Nightingale's another one I don't get the hype. I really don't.
Well, I mean, this she wasn't even supposed to be the challenger. Britt Baker was supposed to be, and she got strep throat.
Yeah,
so they had a four-way.
They
had a four-way match, and out of nowhere, Willow won.
See that when afterwards Mariah's getting interviewed by Renee and she got plowed, man. I was like, holy crap. And Renee, it would almost look like Renee felt sorry for Mariah May. The look on her face was like,
Mariah May, after I thought she was on the way to a major run.
Yeah.
After she beat Toni Storm, and she is flatlined. Like, I don't know what happened. They just stopped. The hype machine just stopped. Like, that feud, like, they needed to get Mina in here, like, immediately. Because that's the only match people wanted. They either want to see a Toni Storm rematch or they want to see that. They don't want to see this.
You want to really piss the people off. You have Mariah title for title against Mercedes.
And like you said, I was high on Willow for a while, but then they stuck her in that feud.
With Chris Statlander?
Yeah. And she came off like an idiot. Like, they didn't do her any favors. So I don't know why Statlander's not getting this match.
Statlander, I think she did a run in on Mercedes, I think, this week, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And that didn't make any sense either.
No, because they're supposedly both heels, although Statlander got a reaction, so I can't figure that out. The other thing, I know I defend Mercedes, but this week against Emi's Sakura, is that her name?
Yeah.
And watching that match, I was just like, you know what? I can't defend her anymore. It's like, all right, I get trying to get a feel for things, and I get that you're this big star in WWE, but it's like, all right, the stick's gotten old now. And it's only been, what, 6 months? And yeah, her wrestling has definitely taken a step back at this point. And look, I didn't see the Stephanie Vacker match. I totally didn't see that. But by the way, Stephanie Vacker did debut on NXT this week. So yeah. Anyway, going back to this match, I guess we're going Mariah May here.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see them trying to shock us and putting Willow Nightingale there, but I don't care.
They're teasing
just don't care.
They teasing that Mina's coming soon. Like, they're talking over Twitter and stuff, so they're going to hold off.
Yeah.
On making a title change.
So, the title match, and I think we know where your pick's going.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, so first thing I want to say, which I think has been the best build match on the card, but the last couple of weeks, Danielson's wrestled almost every week. And I'm saying to myself, if your full-time career is ending, some of these matches, like, is that how you'd want to go out? Like, tag team match with Wheeler Yuta against Claudio and Pac? Who cares?
Maybe it's on his bucket list.
I guess. And then the match with Okada, like, that could have been built up for a while. And it was just thrown on the anniversary show. I was like, really? He could have made this your pay-per-view main event. I would have been more interested in that than him and Moxley again, but I don't know. I think what people are forgetting is he said he would be retiring from full-time competition, but he's still come back from time to time part-time. I think people are overlooking that. He could drop the belt, but I don't think we're never going to see him again. I just think we're going to see him way less.
I don't think he's going to drop the belt here. I think he's going to give it to Darby. I honestly really think it's going to be Darby.
Okay.
I think he's going to want to do the honor to somebody who will get the rub. Like, Moxley doesn't get anything by beating Danielson other than the belt.
Mm-hmm.
but Darby gets he's a main eventer now, or like an Orange Cassidy, like
Is he?
someone like yeah.
Darby and I feel like Darby and Cassidy have gotten maybe upper mid card when they feud with Jericho, and then like Cassidy, I feel like he's lost all momentum, and it's not because of him. I think it's been the booking, like this whole conglomerate thing. I think Mark Briscoe's the one shining in that.
Yeah, Mark Briscoe is definitely taken over.
Yeah.
I think I would say Kyle O'Reilly's even more over than Orange Cassidy at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's
It's
standing
sad.
behind him making like funny faces and stuff. It's like Kyle O'Reilly has a personality. Where'd that come from?
Roderick Strong has a personality. Where did that come from?
That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, in a lot of places, they're not pushing the right people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Shibata is a good wrestler, but so what?
He should be on Ring of Honor.
Like, yeah, I mean, where's like that would have been like a Daniel Garcia type thing.
Well, Garcia's contract just got signed, I think.
Right, but I mean, okay, he's signed now. Insert him in the match.
Well,
You know what I mean?
a lot of these matches were thrown together. I feel like, yeah, I saw the whole thing with Garcia this week, and I was like, great, you signed with AEW. And I get WWE probably wouldn't have done well with him, so I don't question him signing with AEW. But I thought, okay, great. You've been stop and go since you signed the first time. I don't think they're going to do much with Garcia, personally.
I disagree.
Well, hopefully
I think
I'm the
they've
one that's
signed
wrong.
him, and they made a big deal about it because they are going to start pushing him. And I read something online that said that Tony Khan, the only thing was stopping him was he wasn't sure if he was staying. And now that he's staying and he's committed, he's they happened for several years,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to push him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a good wrestler. I mean, I wish he'd bulk up a little more
Mm-hmm.
because he looks kind of small. And like, you know what I mean? Like he's got like to me, he's got like Adam Cole disease. He needs to put on a little more, if not size, a little more definition.
I think he could probably put on a little bit more definition. I don't think that's a deal breaker for me. I think he could still at least be upper mid card without that. Adam Cole, I don't think has the frame to really bulk up. I think it would look weird on him. But Garcia, I just feel like now's his opportunity because I feel like outside of the hip dance thing, I haven't been that interested.
I mean, again, it's going to come down to booking, right?
Yeah.
They got to book them right.
All right. So, I mean, you gave me something to think about with Danielson, but I think I'm going to stick with Moxley here because it just
So you
seems
think
like
the end of the road is Wrestledream against Moxley?
it's in his hometown. I think he hangs it up in his hometown. And if he's as injured as they keep making it out to be, either they're doing a damn good job with the booking, which I don't believe in that.
This is not the card he loses and retires on.
You think he makes it to Newark? All right.
Yeah, I think it's got to be a bigger show.
Okay.
And I
see. And I think
think
because it's in Tacoma, Washington, his hometown, that's why I think it would end
I mean,
here.
there's an argument to be made for that. But if it's really going to be Darby, you got to build up a little bit to that. So Darby's got to beat a few people along the way.
I think the problem is Darby really got Moxley destroyed him really. So
Right, but I mean, you know, every story starts somewhere.
Mhm.
So he loses to Moxley, and he maybe he gets his edge back,
Mhm.
and he beats Brody King, and he beats somebody else, and he beats somebody else, and somebody else, and then finally Danielson's like, you know, you finally earned it, kid. You know, Sting isn't here anymore. You're on your own. It's me and you.
Mhm.
And he goes out. You know, Danielson lays down for him. And I don't know if he has a long reign, but you know, hey, all you need is one,
Mhm.
right? All you need is to get that belt around your waist for a little while, and you know, you can hang on to that. Now you're a former champion. So, all right,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
TBD. Wow, so this might be the first one show in a while where we've had more than one match that we don't agree
What are
on.
you, 2?
It's one more than we've had recently. I mean, if we go back,
I think we should make all the reverence picks by flipping a coin.
we'll give him till
Tell him
Saturday.
we should tell him he came on and he made his picks. He won't remember. He's on cold medicine.
Yeah, I'm just looking back now. We picked one match differently on Bad Blood.
Mm-hmm.
Like All Out, we picked exactly the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say because we've been running the table like the last 6 to 8 pay-per-views, we have been almost perfect,
Mercy,
and we've
Bash.
almost made all the same picks.
Yeah. All in. We picked one. Well, no, we picked a few differently, but we cut. Well, one was the four-way ladder trios
Yeah, I
match.
mean
That
those are kind of hard to pick, you know. I mean, I
yeah,
don't
but
really count those as much.
we still won 8-3 on that. Oh yeah, that's right. That's the one. That's the one of the last ones you missed because you wrote the feud has gone on way too long. No one cares for the one. Anyway. All right. So once the Reverend's back, we do want to talk about Triple H's comments at the recent Bad Blood press conference. So we'll wait for him to return to touch on that. Last thing I think briefly we could get into. Janelle Grant's lawyer wants the WWE to allow the people to speak who signed the NDAs to show that they're really committed to change. Like, really? There's theories that they don't have enough evidence and they know it, but I just feel like I feel like that's a reach. Why would they do that? The change is going to come out in the way the culture acts now. It doesn't matter.
You know what my problem with NDAs are?
Mhm.
Something happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let me finish. Something happened. I'm talking just in general. You sign an NDA, right? Why? Something happened. Somebody doesn't want anybody to find out, so they pay you a certain amount of money and you agree not to talk about it. Right? In my opinion, you should never be allowed to talk about it because you took a certain amount of money and said I'm going to keep my mouth shut. Now, if you're going to start talking, you need to give me the money back. Right? So, and there should be a
I agree
penalty
with
on
that.
top of that.
Yeah,
Because look,
yeah.
Go ahead.
And I read somewhere that NDAs are not enforceable if there was a criminal act involved. So I get it in that
I
respect.
disagree with that though.
Yeah.
If I did something to you
Mhm.
and I said I'm going to give you $100,000 and you're never to speak about it, and you said yes, that's it. As far as I'm concerned, if it's illegal, as far as we're concerned, nothing happened because I can't talk about it and you can't talk about it. So what illegal act has happened? Who's who's to say? Because the two people involved can't talk about it. So then for them to turn around and then NDA should be getting rid of. They should be getting rid of because then they're worthless. It's kind of like a prenup, in my opinion. You sign that, you gave away your rights. You don't get to turn around later and go, I changed my mind. It's not fair. It's not fair, irregardless what happened. You two got signed up for an agreement, and that's where it ends, in my opinion. Whatever the underlying act was, you agreed to. If you didn't like it, then go to the police.
Yeah, and at least in Janelle Grant's case, she signed the NDA, but Vince didn't fulfill his end of the bargain. So, all right, he signed the contract. He was going to pay a certain amount within a certain amount of time. He missed his
That's
payment.
different.
That's different. But
That's
yeah,
different.
if you got your money, yeah, that's a tough. They should have to return at least a portion of it. I think minimum.
It's a
But
slippery slope
yeah,
because I feel like in a larger way, it's a lot of the things that happen in life where two people get into an agreement and then later on the other person regrets it. But you already got the benefit of whatever happened. You can't turn around now and be like, "Oh, this was a bad thing." Well, you gave in. You made the devil's bargain, right? So you can't now turn around and be like, "Oh, I should have done that." It was no, it's done. It's done. You know, I have a big problem with that. Keep your word. If you decided that whatever happened to you was worth X amount of dollars, that's it. If you can't live with that, then you should have went to the police. You should have brought it up.
yeah. I mean,
You know,
yeah. At this point, if the NDA was going to get broken, I feel like there has to be a mutual agreement for that to happen.
right? And like you said,
And
in this case, if Vince did not pay the money, then she's free to talk about whatever she wants because the contract's
right,
broke.
but to indicate WWE should really showcase that they are committed to change and making sure stuff like this doesn't happen by absolving the NDAs that were already signed on was like, but that's in the past. It does.
Right.
I get it.
And why they would be opening themselves to all other kinds of liability.
Yeah, if I'm WWE, I either ignore it or my answer is we know what these and the NDAs specifically stipulated, what was done and what that was covered. we have obviously those in our possession. We know what was listed there, and we're committed to making sure that the items listed there are not going to repeat again. And that's all you need to know. They're NDAs for a reason. Done.
Well, I mean,
But
don't they have a responsibility to their shareholders as well? Like, if they open up all these NDAs, doesn't that open them up to all other kinds of lawsuits and stuff? That doesn't benefit the
oh,
shareholders. I mean,
yeah, the stock price plummets, which I
right.
mean,
So from that angle, I would be like, on behalf of our shareholders, the answer is no.
yeah, I got TKO stock. Wow, it's close trading at 127. Last time I looked, they were in the hundreds. I bought them at $40.
I have one share. I don't care.
I got 100. I
And
got
it's
100
the
shares.
my stock still says WWF on it.
Yeah,
That's how old mine is.
yeah, I mean, I bought mine during. Wow, yeah, TKO is trading higher than Manchester United. Who knew? And in Endeavor, the parent company is trading lower than TKO Group. Ah, wow, 120. Wow, well, my shares. Wow, I really
You're
made a
rich.
profit on it. I made 3 times as much. Granted, I've had that stock for at least 5 years, probably at this point. But anyway,
When I moved out of my house and moved in with my wife, my future wife, I had forgotten to change my address
I remember you
on my
saying this.
stock. So my mother would get my stock, and every time I go see her, she'd hand me some envelopes, and I'd open them up and I'd be like, "Oh, look, I made 30 cents."
Yeah,
Where you did.
now it gets deposited in my E-Trade, and I'm like, oh, all right, great.
So now I finally switched the address over because my mother moved and I had to, and I don't know. I still get statements from Nana and Janine's like, we don't even open them because I mean I have one share of stock. I don't care. It was a gift, that I'd have it. I have a share of Marvel stock as well, so.
Yeah, where my company got acquired by another company, and on the buyout, I reinvested that in WWE, not thinking I'd actually make this much money off it. But yeah, rolling in the dough
Yeah.
with my paltry investment there. We'd like to thank you all for investing in us for another week. We hope you enjoy Russell Dream for those who are watching this weekend. If not, there's plenty of sports on otherwise to feed your appetite. It seems like you have
Yeah,
something else you
I
want
was
to
gonna
say.
say, if you guys want to put your picks in on Twitter or our YouTube account, go ahead. We'd love to hear if you've got, if you want to make your own picks, do it. We'd love to know what your thoughts are.
Yes, and if you're going to do it on Twitter, make sure you tag Drew for 316 because I want to make sure we actually say it on the air. I'm going to be honest, I forget to check, and we don't want to do that to you guys. I only mention any feedback we have when somebody, a closer friend, a person I know in real life, actually texts me and says, "Oh yeah, I commented." So we'll definitely do better there. But yeah, let's hear your picks. All right. So as I said, if you're not Russell dreaming this weekend, there's plenty of other stuff to go for. There's NFL. There's
Wrestle Dreaming. I just picked up on that.
yeah. There's there's the NFL. There's NCAA college football. I think the baseball playoffs will take a hiatus after tomorrow for probably the weekend, but I think that starts back up actually Sunday night.
Yes, I think Sunday.
And you know what? The Sunday night game, it's going to be Mets against Dodgers or Padres. I think that's going to be more interesting than Giants Bengals, and I'm a Giants fan saying that. So, weak Sunday night football game this week. But anyway, we thank you guys for listening. Check us out on our normal social media. That is the Sports Frenzy podcast on Instagram and Facebook. And on Twitter, it's Sports Frenzy Pod. We do have a Thread account, so you can check that out as well on the Sports Frenzy podcast. We thank you guys for listening and watching, actually, and we will catch you next week. Have a great weekend, all.